Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All right, we're online now. ठीक है, मेरा जूम कहाँ गया? हाँ, ये रहा. Okay, so 9th chapter, verse number 25. So, just quick recap what is happening here. So, verse number 11 to verse number 24, as I had discussed yesterday and day before yesterday for English and Hindi forums of Bhagavad Gita, from verse number 11 to verse number 24 is actually a discussion about three kinds of devotees. It's for the first time Lord Shri Krishna is introducing or talking about this kind of persons who are actually bhaktas. What kind of bhaktas? Bhaktas in the sense, don't consider bhaktas means pure devotees. They're worshipping some aspect of God. So one is about Mayavadis. They totally deride the concept of Lord having a human-like form. That's the first thing. So they consider the Lord is formless. So now, why they deride the concept of or the concept that the Lord can have a form like us? Any quick thoughts? I had elaborately discussed over the weekend. I don't know if some of you could be part of it, but if you want to share, it's a very, very important concept. Okay, if not, I'll go ahead with it. I'll give the answers then. That's okay. So this Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, which is said to be the king of knowledge, is actually very, very crucial chapter. The chapter begins itself with in 9.1, Lord Shri Krishna telling Arjuna, just bear with me. I just don't want to read it and go through and you don't get it something. I just want to give a little background to this chapter. Some very important discussions going on here. So in the 9th chapter, verse number 1, Lord Shri Krishna says, Arjuna, I'm going to give you the most confidential knowledge. Now, why Arjuna? Because he is Anasuyave. Krishna says, you are non-envious of me. So the Guhya Gyan is, you're not body but spiritual. Guhyataha Gyan is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality. You are part and parcel. And you should serve Lord. Dasya. Now, in this chapter, Srila Vishnu Thakur explains, Lord Shri Krishna is going to talk about Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti is the most confidential knowledge, which we can say that the Lord is going to speak about the intimate relationship between the devotee and the Lord. That is the subject matter here. So, two things Krishna says, as a factor or the prerequisite for one to understand the knowledge given in this chapter, which is the most confidential part of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the 9th chapter, which is the middle chapter of the 18 chapters. Just like the pearl is found in a shell, within the shell, just like a king is surrounded by his entourage, similarly the king of knowledge is found in the middle of all the 18 chapters. So Krishna says two things is needed to understand what will be discussed here. One is non-envious nature, and second is faith. And Krishna really tests our faith from 9.4 verse onwards, when he began to speak about inconceivable potencies. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina masthani sarvabhutani naha chahamte shavasita. So Krishna says here, if I just give you one idea of inconceivable potency of the Lord, is masthani sarvabhutani. Krishna says every living entity is residing in me. Go to text number 5. Nacha masthani bhutani, nobody resides within me. You're getting it? Krishna in two statements back to back is self-contradicting. So from our logical analysis, from our limited mundane perspective, we'll say Krishna is contradicting, but Krishna is not contradicting. For the details of it, I would recommend you hear yesterday's Bhagavad Gita class. It was yesterday I spoke, right? Yeah, only yesterday. On Saturday in English class, I had spoken on a different set of verses. So yesterday I had spoken at length about this. So this section from 4th verse up to the 10th verse talks about Lord's inconceivable potencies and energies, like that. It's a very, very important discussion. So point is, here Krishna is speaking about his inconceivable potencies and opulences. Inconceivable itself means which cannot be understood. So the verse number 4 to verse number 10 establishes the greatness of the Lord. And the second thing this set of verses establish here is our inability to understand the greatness of the Lord. We cannot comprehend the greatness of the Lord with our mundane logic. So what you cannot understand, then only one thing comes. What? Faith. You got it? What is beyond your sense of perception, which is beyond your mental logic and limit to understand, to accept that, you can only do that on the basis of faith. Now, somebody may challenge, as I was making a point yesterday, faith? We don't put a faith. We believe in facts. My dear sir, your life began with faith. You're living your life with faith. When you were born, somebody pointed to you and said, Ma. And you began to call that lady as a Ma. And somebody pointed you to a man and said, Ba. ये बकरी जैसा बा लग रहा है, बकरी वाला नहीं है, बाबा, बाबा. And you begin to call that man as a father. Until today, you're calling that lady as a mother and that person as a father. Have you ever went and asked, what is the scientific evidence? Have you ever done a DNA or genetic code analysis with your mother and father? You're getting it? Your foundation is on faith. You went to school and they taught you about imaginary number. How many of you asked the teacher, if something is imaginary, how can it have a basis for further scientific research? Yes or no? So all your basis of life is faith. To say that, no, we accept, this is a ridiculous statement. Fine, so that has been discussed from 9.4 to 9.10. Our faith is tested. And of course, we discussed at length about this subject matter. And then from 11th verse onwards to verse number 24, Arjuna then said, my dear Lord, you are the greatest personality. You're all pervading. Every living entity, your presence is all pervasive. I'm not saying Krishna himself says, I'm just quoting his example and paraphrasing it. Hey, Krishna is as pervasive as ether. Ether is within and without everything. Ether is outside of us. Ether is within us. The space between the molecules is what? Ether. So Krishna, you're like that. You're within and without. Without you, there is no meaning of sustenance. You're the shelter of everything. So why don't people accept you? Krishna says, there are 3 categories of people. So all of you have heard about 4 categories of people who do not accept Krishna, who accept Krishna. But here now Krishna says there are 3 categories of people who fail to understand him. And they are still bhaktas. Please understand. Srila Vishwanath Thakur and Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan writes their commentary like this. They're still bhaktas. So first category of bhakta is who is a Mayavadi. Who is a Mayavadi? One who cannot accept the personal form of the Lord. That person is described in verse number 11. Avajananti ma'amudha manushantanam ashritam. A foolish person do not accept me. He considers me manushantanam. He thinks I have taken a form of a human being. So I am a mere human being. Parambhavam ajananto. He doesn't know about my supreme position. Mama bhutam Ishvara. I am the Lord or controller of everything, of all the matter. He doesn't know that like that. So who are these people? These people are said to be Mayavadis. You can call them Mayavadis, etc. Those who do not believe the Lord can have a spiritual form. Clear? Now those who do not believe, or those who are advocate of the philosophy the Lord is formless. Okay, I'm making a very clear words now. I'll not don't want to name people or religion here. Today in the world there are certain religions who say Lord cannot have form. And they say those who worship deities, they're idol worshippers, they're Satan worshippers. Which means if you say Lord has a form, you are Satan according to them, right? You're a Satan worshippers. You might have heard of it. So those who say the Lord does not have a form, Arjuna asked the question after Krishna spoke 11th verse, my dear Lord, what is the destination of such people who do not accept you as you are? They say you are formless. Krishna says in 12th verse, Moga shamoga karma no moganana vichetsaha rakshashimasarim chaiva prakate mohinam shritaha. Such a people or such a person have taken a shelter of rakshashim asarim. So what mentality they acquire? Of a sinful man. They are like a demon. Now what is the quality of a demon? Demon is one who is envious of Krishna, who is envious of devotees. So what do? When they come in power, they destroy Brahmanical culture. Slaughter of cow, destruction of temples, killing of Brahmanas. Sounds familiar? It's the only goal and objective of certain religions today in the world. And they do it on the name of God. They're bhaktas. They're bhaktas, but they are pseudo-bhaktas. So, who are these categories of people? These are that category of people who are, now why they do not accept the form of the Lord? I had discussed yesterday also. Why they don't accept the form of the Lord? Krishna said, Arjuna, you can accept this knowledge because you are non-envious. So, our envy gets manifested where we identify ourselves. How many of you agree this whole enviousness only exists within the people who we know? Yes or no? Raise your hands quickly. Our brother, sister, relatives, neighbor who we know. You're not going to be envious, some, let's say, CEO of, some company somewhere else who you don't know. Nobody's going to be envious of that. Maybe he's far much more successful, but you're only going to be envious of your classmate, your college mate, your friends, your relatives, or not. Similarly, such people are so much stooped in envious, full of envy, they cannot accept that Lord can have a form like us. अरे कि हमारा जैसा व्यक्ति दिखने वाला भगवान हो सकता है, इसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है? It cannot be. Therefore, Ishopanishad says, atheists will not be cast into the hellish condition of life. Who will be cast into the hellish condition of life? Okay, let me just the shloka. Or do I have a Veda base here? Okay, I will have a Veda base online. Just let me just show you. Ishopanishad, text number 11. So give you an evidence of it. Text number 11, text number 10. Text number 10. And text number 9. Knowledge ki baat ho rahi hai. Go to text number 9. Okay, yeah. So where is our Zoom here? Zoom is somewhere here. And if I can share my screen, which screen? The screen. And all of you can probably see. So this is Ishopanishad text number 9. Andam tama pravishanti ya avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yayu vidyayam rataha. So andam tama pravishanti, you enter into the darkness. Who? Ya avidyam upasate. Those who worship avidya, which means those who only talk about matter. Those who only worship ignorance, just like our modern science. They only talk about matter. So what is the destination? Andham tama pravishanti. So hardcore materialists and atheists go into darkness. Now Krishna, the Ishopanishad says something interesting. Tato bhuya ivate tamo. Tato bhuya ivate tamo. But there is another category of people who is put into more darkness. And then the next two verses will say, hellish condition of life. Who? Yayu vidyayam rataha. Those who worship knowledge. Those who are engaged in the culture of knowledge. They are cast into a far more greater darkness. I hope you are able to see the connection, understand this. So who are these people who worship knowledge? Just like Ravana was a highly learned person. He knew everything about Vedic knowledge. Hiranyakashipu taught his bhabi about what Vedic scripture says about life and death. Jarasandha spoke Bhagavad Gita, literally Bhagavad Gita, to Shishupal when Krishna abducted Rukmani. He spoke about all the 5 subject matters. And all of them were envious of Krishna. But in their own capacity, all of them were bhaktas. All of them were bhaktas, like that. So this is the discussion in text number 12. And then number 13 and 14 talks about Mahatmas, the great devotees of the Lord. And then the result as being the Lord. That is described in text number, one second. We have read this verses, right? So 16 to 19 is a discussion about those कहते हैं worship universal form. One second. I'm just missing the shloka. 23, 24, like that. So then another 2 set of bhaktas are described. One who consider everyone to be God. I mean, everyone in the God in the sense, not that way. Uh, this is called, in English, it's called as paganism. What is paganism? They consider everything in the nature to be worshipable. The sun is God, moon is God, trees are God, eagle is God, sparrow is God, cockroach is God, snake is God. And they have all kinds of gods. So they see the divinity in everything. But the problem is they say everything is same. And the very first offense, the second offense in the chanting of holy names of the Lord is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna. What is that? To consider the names of Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. So this is the second category, and their destination is discussed in this set of verses, which we would have discussed when we read this. And the third category of people, which are described from verse number 16 to 19, are those category of bhaktas who accept universal form to be the highest. And how they worship or how they can worship is described from verse number 16 to 19. And all these three are rejected by Krishna. To some other capacity, either they are envious or they are faithless. Are you getting this? So 9th chapter begins with, very clearly Krishna states, if you want to understand the subject matter which I am telling you, two things are required. Freedom from envy and faith. And those who do not have that, they become trapped to these three categories of bhaktas. One, Mayavadi. Second is who worship universal form. Third is a pagan who says everyone is God. Everyone is like that. And now we come to 25th verse. Now 25th verse talks about that Lord outlines our choices. This prakar, whatever you worship accordingly, you will get your next destination. Let's begin our today's discussion. Yanti deva vrata devam pitra yanti pitravrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti matyajino pimam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Sounds familiar? Did Krishna spoke like this before somewhere? Yes or no? Yes or no? कहीं बोला है? सुना है पहले? कहाँ? हाँ क्या तुम लोग सो के जागे? कहाँ भगवान ने बोला? Think about that. Somewhere Lord Shri Krishna spoke on things similar line. And I'll have to quickly search for the verse. You figure out the verse. Okay? I'll read the puppet in the meantime. Let's see who can figure out the verse if Krishna spoke something similar. I'm reading the puppet now. If one has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for the purpose. Such as the process technically known as Darsha Paurnamashi. In case if you're looking at it, look after verse number 23 of 7th chapter. Okay? These are vividly described in the fruitive activities portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated in different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to ghostly planets, Vishash, which is called black art or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art and they think that it is spiritualism. But such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of God and only achieves the plans of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshipping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing the black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can't the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live. And because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyoti. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in his life, go back home, and back to Godhead. So we all have a choice to make. So, could we locate? Is there something which is discussed before or no? No. That is about particularly for Krishna. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Now, verse number 26 to 34, Lord Shri Krishna speaks this special set of verses. 26 to 34. And what's the mindset behind Lord Shri Krishna speaking these verses? Krishna wants us to make the right choice. Krishna wants to make us the right choice, because 25th gives us different options to choose from, and then to make the right choice, which means to select Krishna. Krishna now speaks verse number 26 to 34. That's the idea. Let's read text number 26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadham bhakti uphritam ashnami prayatatmana. The very first thing Krishna says, this has been discussed before also, how simple is bhakti. Where was this thing discussed? Bhakti is so simple. In this chapter only, right? Susukham, correct, not there. But Prabhupada spends time in one of the purports. Okay, anyways, this comparative study I'll do in our Gita Life program. Let's read it here. So here, purport. So again, I mean, we just don't want to read. All of you have been reading. It's good if we have some recollection. Now here Krishna, in this particular verse, Krishna says Bhakti is so simple that anyone can perform. And this same concept have been discussed before. So when you're reading that, we should be a little attentive so we can see how Krishna is emphasizing when something is repeated twice, which means how Krishna is emphasizing like that. All right. So it is said, if one offers me with love, devotion, leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. So how many of you say it is difficult to serve Krishna now? How many of you say it's difficult? Or how many of you say it's very easy? Raise your hand quickly. How many of you say it's easy to serve Krishna? कहने में आसान है, करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. आप ये भूल गए कि आपको लीफ फ्लावर पड़ोसी के गार्डन से मिल जाएगी. प्रेम कहां से लाओगे भाई? Where would you get the love? Krishna categorically says, Yo me bhaktya prayachati. How do you offer me? Bhakti. Prayachati means to offer. Krishna doesn't say, Yo me prayachati. Yo me mam prayachati. Right? Krishna could have said, offer it to me. But Krishna particularly uses a qualifier. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Now let me ask a question. How many say, now service to Krishna is easy? It's easy. It's easy, Baba. Why are you changing your Why are you changing your position? So it's easy. Why? We may not have love right now. Agree? But serving Krishna is easy because Krishna is not demanding. Now let me ask this question. How many of you say serving Krishna is easy or serving your spouse is easy? Let me give an option. How many of you say serving spouse is easy as compared to Krishna? Raise your hand. Or how many of you say serving Krishna is easy as compared to spouse? Raise your hand now. See? So serving Krishna is easy. But don't take it cheaply. That's the point I want to make here. Don't take it cheaply. So we have to attempt to live a life such a way that we cultivate love and affection. And how do you cultivate love and affection? That's the bhakti process. Okay, let's use the purport. For the intelligent person, okay, this is a big purport. Somebody else read out. Somebody else would like to read out? Krishna Chandra, go ahead.
For the intelligent person.
Oh, no sound, Baba, Abhishek. Why you done with the sound?
Now, Prabhu?
Yes.
For the intelligent person, it is essential to be in Krishna consciousness, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, in order to achieve a permanent, blissful abode for eternal happiness. The process of achieving such a marvelous result is very easy and can be attempted even by the poorest of the poor without any kind of qualification. The only qualification required in this connection is to be a pure devotee of the Lord. It does not matter what one is or where one is situated. The process is so easy that even a leaf or a little water or fruit can be offered to the Supreme Lord in genuine love, and the Lord will be pleased to accept it. No one, therefore, can be barred from Krishna consciousness because it is so easy and universal. Who is such a fool that he does not want to be Krishna conscious? By this simple method, and thus attain the highest perfectional life of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Krishna wants only loving service and nothing more. Krishna accepts even a little flower from his pure devotee. He does not want any kind of offering from a non-devotee. He is not in need of anything from anyone because he is self-sufficient, and yet he accepts the offering of his devotee in an exchange of love and affection. To develop Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection of life. Bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse in order to declare more empathetically that bhakti or devotional service is the only means to approach Krishna. No other condition, such as becoming a Brahmana, a learned scholar, a very rich man, or a great philosopher, can induce Krishna to accept some offering. Without the basic principle of bhakti, nothing can induce the Lord to agree to accept anything from anyone. Bhakti is never casual. The process is eternal. It is direct action in service to the absolute whole. Continue, Prabhu. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord, and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what type of sacrifices he desired to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then one should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him, and he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and egg. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper foods for the human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. In the third chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and release from the clutches of material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are eating only sin. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering, enable one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues which will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food, since he already possesses everything that be. Yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving, and in offering is to act with love for Krishna. The impersonalist philosopher who wished to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad Gita. To them, it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses, and it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so, in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotees' words of love in offering foodstuff is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized. Because of his absolute position, his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotees who accept Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the supreme absolute truth can eat food and enjoy it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So, Thank you, Krishna Chandra Prabhu. So with that, we kind of come to the conclusion of our time for today. We can continue reading this tomorrow onwards. I hope we did a little recap of the section, because while reading that, I had not explained you all that. So I hope that made brought some clarity to this discussion. Once again, to really get into that subject matter of love of Godhead, as we always say, Krishna Prema in the morning program, what is the statement? The desired goal. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against all this offense in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. The two prerequisites for that, essential prerequisites, is non-envy, and second is faith. Now, what is faith? Like I had given an example of discussing yesterday, just like we read in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Putna was several miles long. So now, are we willing to put faith into it? If there could be a human being so long, and Krishna as a small child killed her, as a lady is okay, but a 8-mile long, to be precise, 8-mile long person. So many actually devotees, in fact, when they write about this, they say it's a poetic expression. Now, unless our acharyas are mentioned like that, but to take it for ourselves, it is a poetic expression. At our end, to call it as a poetic expression is an indication of something which I hope you understand. Because lack of faith, and presence of envy leads to this kind of misunderstandings. If our Acharya says, who have been established and acknowledged by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis and all that, then it's okay. If Sridhar Swami Maharaj commentary says, anyone comment, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur commentary says, then it's okay. Yes, could be. But that's the point here. So these two factors is something as a sadhaka we need to work. Faith, how does faith comes? Faith comes from knowledge. Where does knowledge comes from? Knowledge comes from sadhu sangha. So again, so very, very important for us. We have got all the knowledge, we've got all the books, we're doing everything, we're doing seva, we are chanting, we're worshipping deity, everything we're doing. But it's just like we're building the tall structure, but we have not built the foundation properly. It is bound to collapse. And what is a foundation? I'll just speak on it for a minute or two and then we'll pass it there. What is this foundation? Question? Okay. What is this foundation? Foundation is sadhu sangha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world to give us chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Right or wrong? No, that's not right. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to give us Sankirtan, chanting in the association of the devotees. So what you say is chanting, yes, it's right, but it's wrong also. It is Sankirtan. He came and gave us. You never hear about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting privately and chanting holy name. He was always as a devotee chanting the holy names of the Lord. So that's the foundation. Sadhu Sangha is the foundation of life. And Prabhupada, I believe in the Rajvidya Rajguyam verse there, Prabhupada gives an example of Narada the boy. Narada the boy, his life became successful because he took Sadhu Sangha, or he did Sadhu Sangha properly. Now, the problem with all of us that arises, why our foundation is not strong? Because we don't do Sadhu Sangha properly. When there is an opportunity to do Sadhu Sangha, we bring in a lot of material conceptions of life. And in particular, it is quite easily available today, so we take it that cheaply. For example, if let's say your spiritual master happened to come to your place, how excited you will be. Oh, my spiritual master. Now imagine if you are living with the spiritual master every day, that excitement would be not there. Agreed? Yes or no? Because this is how the material life works. What is not with us, we long for it. What is with us, we will stop valuing it. And then we'll see, every day, Swamiji aage pranam karo. Every day Swamiji says, do this, do that. I have to run around, do this, do that. Swamiji was better when he was online only. Hear them online and live our own life. It's not easy like that. So faith Faith comes from knowledge, knowledge comes from sadhu sangha. So really understand this or really enter the realm of prema bhakti. For all of us, we need to cultivate Vaishnava etiquettes so that we understand how to do sadhu sangha. How to deal with envy as another prerequisite to overcome envy or to become non-envious is through cultivating service attitude. To the degree we are selfish, self-centered, that reflects our enviousness. To the degree we are stuck in I and mine, it represents our envy. It's all based on selfishness. And I'll conclude with reminding all of us, now 50 years forward, fast forward, 60 years fast forward, 1966 Prabhupada started this, which makes 2016, makes it 60 years, right? 60 years, am I correct? Or 50 years? 50 years, right? 50 years, like that. 70, 50 years, and this is 22, which is now 50 plus years, right? Now 55 years and all, or something we are off. We are that much old. Now, because our community has been for more than 5 decades, all the facilities, all the infrastructure, everything has been, and even the sadhu sangha, DTs, everything has been provided. You have plenty of opportunity to eat prasadam anywhere and everywhere. Please do not forget what we have today is because there are many devotees who sacrifice their life to give you what you have today. Don't become so self-centered and selfish. I'll do my practice. I know how to do practice. There is no way you'll make progress. There's no way. Bhakti. So what this verse says, that what we just read, Patram Pushpam Phalam Doyam Yomi Bhakta Prachati. So it might sound like Krishna is saying, just give me this. But please understand another principle. Krishna also very carefully notes what you don't give him. He also very carefully note what you don't give him. So it's not that Krishna is going to give us prema bhakti like that because we are chanting something. Do you think 16 hours is going to give you prema bhakti? I mean, that's a joke. Because somebody is chanting 16 hours. Do you think Krishna can give prema bhakti? Oh, so इतने सालों से 2 घंटे जागमाला करता है और कितने हम जागते हुए करते हैं वो परमात्मा को ही पता है. ये आपके पड़ोस में बैठे हुए वाले भक्त को पता है. मैं जप की स्थिति. So this chapter which we're talking about prema bhakti, we all are aspiring for the Krishna prema. We all have to count our sacrifices. We all have to count how much we're willing to go beyond our bodily and mental limitation to serve Guru and Gauranga, because it is only bestowed by Krishna. And trust me, drawing attention to Krishna is not easy, because there are many people who are trying to attract his attention. there is no scarcity. He is the Malik, he is the Ishwar of the whole creation. So everyone is worshiping. See, we are in this planet, at a tiny planet, tiny land in this whole cosmic creation, which is filled with atheists. But if you look at the Bhumandal and above, is all Devatas. Even on this Varsha, what is it called as? Jambudvip. Even on this Jambudvip, out of the 9 Varshas, only there is one Varsha where there are atheists. And the atheists also exist only in Kali Yuga, largely. Satya, Treta, Dwapar doesn't have so much. Dwapar had some, Treta less, Satya almost nil. So there is only handful of, atheists. Which is more? Devotees. So where there is a competition now to try Krishna. So don't think I'm so great, I'm chanting 16 now. Krishna would be so. Of course, Krishna is grateful, no doubt about it. But when it comes to awarding, to whom you award if you have so many, and there are so many bad candidates. And the good thing for us, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Why we are so blissful in our life? Because we don't know what's a competition. We don't know how many devotees are lined up, what all they're doing to serve Krishna. And we think, अपना 16 माला हो गया, बस बढ़िया, नाम जप लो, थोड़ा कृष्ण प्रसाद खाओ, थोड़ा बहुत से बीच में लोनावला की चक्की भी खाते रहो, भगवान को विष्णु विष्णु बोलकर, ऐसे ऐसे चलाते रहो, काम चलता रहेगा. So again, I'm just speaking entirely for this subject matter of 9th chapter here, because Krishna speaks about prema bhakti. So prema bhakti, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it's not easy to get it. It's sudulabha. Not sudulabha, sorry, it's dulabha. Sudulabha. Very, very rare, like that. All right. With that, we'll pause here for our discussion. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. So what did we read today? 26 verse only, yeah? Okay, 24 to 26. So tomorrow we'll begin our discussion on 27. Don't worry, don't get frightened. Uh, I was going through some thoughts in my mind, so I just shared. कल से रीडिंग करेंगे. हरे कृष्ण. जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. भगवद गीता की जय.